After being rescued by the adventurer, I followed her back to her home. While chatting with her, I suddenly heard a strange sound, but there was no one else nearby. After returning to the adventurer's home, she provided me with clothes and water. Although I am very grateful for her help, I always feel that something is wrong somewhere. After I went to the empty room to rest, she seemed to become increasingly strange. Just as I was resting, the maid appeared in the wilderness.
Aluka walked ahead and led Moen away from the Belen Plain to the current forest path. Moen followed behind her. In order to thank Aluka for extending a helping hand to him, Moen helped Aluka hold a basket containing food. A gentle breeze blew by, and the sun silently shone on Aluka's way home. Everything looks very natural. At this moment, Moen remembered that Aluka had come here alone. He asked her, "Speaking of which, Miss Aluka, didn't you and your husband just get married? How could you come to such a wilderness and be targeted by bandits?" Aluka answered Moen as she walked, "I'm going to Belen to handle something about my husband's work and buy some fresh food on the way." Moen is a bit curious about the job mentioned by Aluka. Work? You are an adventurer, and your husband should also be an adventurer, right? Aluka placed her hand on her chest and tidied up the folds on her cloak. She looked ahead with a gentle smile and explained to Moen, "Yeah, however, due to our marriage, Rod and I have no plans to engage in any adventurous activities for the time being, so I need to report to the association. If I fail to report in for an extended period, the association will automatically assume something has happened to us and mark us as deceased. These kinds of administrative errors occur every year." At this moment, Aluka remembered that she hadn't talked to Moen about tonight's dinner yet. She turned her head and asked Moen with a smile on her face, "Is it okay to have fish tonight, Mr. Moen?" Upon hearing that tonight's dinner was fish, Moen's eyes lit up. He felt very happy. He lifted his hands and happily clenched the basket, saying to Aluka, "Of course. I love eating fish the most. I love you." Suddenly, Moen heard a very strange voice coming from behind him. He widened his eyes and was surprised by the sound. He immediately felt an uncomfortable sensation behind him. Moen immediately turned his head and nervously looked behind him, wanting to know who was speaking from behind. However, he looked left and right and did not find anyone else following behind them. The strange sound disappeared after saying that sentence. On this small path, there is only the sound of wind and the wind blowing through the grass. He murmured to himself in a low voice, That's weird." Aluka noticed that Moen seemed to be looking cautiously behind them. She turned her head and asked in confusion, "What's wrong, Mr. Moen?" Moen carefully observed for a while, but still couldn't find the person who made the sound. He furrowed his brow and raised his hand to scratch his head. He cautiously asked Aluka, "Did you hear any sound?" Aluka shook her head and answered him, "No." Although he was still a bit uneasy since Aluka had not heard any relevant voices, he did not continue to pay too much attention. He said to Aluka, "It's nothing. Perhaps I have been hungry for too long, causing me to experience hallucinations. Let's go quickly." When Moen followed Aluka back to her village, the sun had already set. The sunset dyed the blue sky orange. Houses of all sizes were shrouded in the radiance of the setting sun, casting long shadows. A gust of wind gently blew and knocked on the window of the house. Aluka led Moen to a very huge house. The sunset shines on this house, making it more reflective of its size. Moen was very surprised by this house. Well, he lifted his head and observed the shape of the house. "Miss Aluka, I didn't expect your home to be quite big." Aluka did not have a strong reaction to Moen's exclamation. She naturally took the basket from his hand and calmly explained to him, "This is not my home, it is the village chief's home. We are just temporarily staying here." At this moment, Moen discovered a strange phenomenon. He turned his head and curiously asked Aluka, "By the way, Miss Aluka, I've been meaning to ask you something. Your village is so quiet. We haven't seen anyone along the way." Since Moen entered this village, he has not noticed any other villagers in the village. This place is not as lively as usual villages. The gentle breeze blew the nearby doors and windows, making a creaking sound. This looks very bleak here, as if no one lives here, and every household's door is open. Are they not afraid of being visited by thieves? Upon hearing Moen's words, Aluka silently lowered her head and tightly grasped the vegetable basket in her hand. She seems to be thinking about something. At that moment, Aluka raised her head and tucked a stray lock of hair behind her ear. She calmly said to Moen, "Because everyone is very busy now. Does Mr. Moen know about Beavor Lake?" When it comes to Beavor Lake, Moen remembers what happened before. After all, Anne brought back a lot of fish for him from there, and the fish meat was very fresh and delicious. He answered Aluka, "Of course. Not only do I know about it, but I have also been eating fish for several days." Aluka explained the reason to Moen. "Beavor Lake is only 10 miles away from us. The autumn harvest is about to begin, and the land near our village is not suitable for cultivation, nor is it rich in rare minerals. The villagers rely solely on fishing for fish from Beavor Lake and selling them to nobles to earn a year's worth of expenses. So this time of year is always the busiest time. Even children participate in catching fish. Everyone is living directly on the ship this month. My husband and I are both adventurers in the village. Rod is responsible for protecting the safety of the villagers and transporting the caught fish to the city for sale. He only comes back once every few days while I stay here. You can understand me as the guardian of the village during this special period." Aluka looked at Moen with a smile on her face, hoping that her explanation would dispel his concerns. After listening to Aluka's words, Moen closed his eyes and placed one hand on his chin to think for a while. Then he nodded, feeling that this explanation was quite reasonable. "I see. No wonder I couldn't see anyone along the way. It's really hard." "I love you." Suddenly Moen heard the eerie sound he had heard in the wilderness again. He stared blankly ahead, not daring to move. This voice made him feel a bit creepy, as if it was trying to remind him. He quickly turned his head and looked behind him. Unfortunately, he still didn't see anyone standing behind him speaking. Although the sound was very clear, he still didn't know where the source of the sound was. His voice also disappeared in an instant. Aluka didn't seem to notice Moen's movements. She walked to the door of the house and unlocked it. She said to Moen, "Come in. There are slippers at the door." Moen responded while vigilantly observing the surrounding environment. "Oh, okay." Moen followed Aluka to the door of the house. He quietly turned his head to look behind him, but there was indeed no one behind him. He felt very strange about the sound appearing again. He whispered, "This voice is getting closer and closer. Is it really my illusion?"
Hi! Pineapple has a good news to tell you. My app Lullaby can now be downloaded on the App Store and Google Play. You can search for Lullaby Light Novel in the search bar to find the app. After downloading the app, you can read our exclusive novels and comics more easily on your mobile phone. If you are interested, you can download Lullaby from the App Store and Google Play.